Well, hello again everyone. It's a long time since we did an airbrushing video, so I thought it's about time we get back to it. And I've got myself a nice steel blank that I've prepared. It's painted in black car paint, black Halford's car paint. And I'm going to try a rose design today. I've got myself a reference picture of a rose, but we're going to do something a bit different with it. It's going to be on a black background. I'm going to try and do a black rose on a black background. Now the first thing I want to do is just go over the blank with some red Scotch-Brite, just to give it a little bit of a key, not press too hard or anything, just enough to take a little bit of a gloss off the surface. So the next thing I'm going to do is cut out the outline of the reference from my printed out picture here and just keep the positive and negative templates for that. Now I'm going to pop it on here and secure it with my magnets onto the steel plate. Right, well, there's a couple of edges showing beyond the reference template. I'll just put some masking tape just so I don't get any overspray on there. Right, I've got the regulator set to around about 1.5 bar. Right, let's get some white mixed up and just give this a gentle dusting. Give this paint a good old shake up because it's not been used for quite a while. Well, that's really enough dusting. That's all I really wanted, just enough to give it a little bit of a shadow. But you can see on my reference here, there's a couple of areas where the white is really quite bright on the edge. So I'm just going to bring those bits in, really there to there and there to there. Now you can see the white on the black is coming out a lot more grey than the white on this pink reference, but I'm okay with that because I'm going for a much more sort of dark aesthetic with a black rose, so I'm not worried about hitting the really high bright whites. So now I'm going to go back in with the reference, and I think normally it works from the inside, but I think I'm going to work from the outside and just trim these back so I can get these nice sharp highlight edges and just work from the outside in just to pick up the edges of these petals. Right, now we're getting down to the fine detail in this middle section. I'm going to attempt to do that by hand instead of with the shields, because it's going to be a lot of cutting, and I don't think it's entirely necessary. I think I can do most of that freehand. Well, I'm not entirely happy with that, so I'm just going to go in with some shields that I've cut just to crisp it up a bit. Well, I think that's about it for the white. It's getting quite late now. I think I'm going to pack up for the night. I've flushed the airbrush through with cleaner and left it with a cup full of cleaner. And yeah, I think we'll get back onto this in the morning. But yeah, it's really nice to be back using the airbrush again. Well, it's the next morning. I've begun by taking out all the positive shields out the centre of the picture, so I've just got the negative shield left, and I've printed myself up another reference, and I'm going to go back now and use bits of those positive shields just to protect the pieces that I want to not have overspray on. I'm just going to go back in and add some of the darker sections. Of course, I'll be doing it in black rather than pink. And you can see the centre's got a bit messy, so I'm going to start with the centre area first. Well, I'm reasonably pleased with how this is coming on, but once again, I'm afraid it's time to stop for a little while, because we've got to go out, we've got to go and see some family. So I'm going to pack away now, and we'll carry on with this a little bit later on, perhaps.
Yes, definitely.
Right, well, we are back from our little outing, so it's time to carry on. I'm going to carry on with a very similar thing, just bringing in the areas of black where I can see the dark pink on the reference there. whilst that doesn't look too bad, I want to add some extra highlights in. So I'm just going to put a bit of white in the brush and add those in before I go much further. It is starting to come together now, but I need to do the same now with the black, because I've made a couple of these areas a bit too bright. Well, there we go. I'm fairly pleased with it so far. I've got most of this rose done now, I think, in terms of the flower. I've got the stalk. I'm going to do the stalk, maybe a couple of thorns and a couple of leaves. Just keep them very dark to keep sort of in keeping with the rest of it. But it's getting quite late in the evening now, so unfortunately I've got to pack all this away. So I'm hoping that perhaps very soon I'll get an evening where I can come back and finish this design. Well, there we go folks, it's a couple of days later and I managed to grab some time to get back onto this rose painting. Now, I've been looking at it in the sort of intervening time, and there's a couple of corrections I want to do to this sort of pattern here so far before I go much further, and I'll show you what they are. Now firstly, I don't like this little arc here. This and this are actually separate shading to this, but it looks like there's a sort of a weird arc that goes all the way across. So I want to darken that up and make that a little bit clearer, that that's not a single arc going through there. And I also don't really like this highlight here. I'm going to darken that up as well so that the petal underneath is in the shadow of this petal, because I think the light is sort of coming from this way and that highlight just looks wrong really. So let's get some black in the airbrush and tackle those. So what I'm going to do now is I do want to put in an element of the stalk and perhaps a couple of leaves. I'm not going to do all these leaves, but I want to do a little bit to show that the rose has got a stalk. I'm going to have it sort of fading really into the darkness, I think, so they might end up a little bit darker than this. But anyway, let's crack on and cut out something here by way of a stencil, just to show sort of a little bit of leaf. Maybe just do this leaf and this little bit here and the stalk with the thorns on. Right, let's get this lined up. I can use my previous sort of mask reference to do the stem and the leaf, because I can see them quite clearly on there. You can see I've cut it out of the actual sort of unmarked reference picture. do need to put a bit of tape across there, and maybe down here as well. Well, I've mixed up a green that I think is going to match sort of the lightest parts of these leaves once it's sprayed on. Of course, it's going to have a black, so it's going to darken up anyway. Right, well, I've mixed up some brown colour in the brush. It's a little bit of a purpley brown, but I think I'll work against the dark green. I just want to colour up or sort of darken up one side of the stalk and just put some texture onto the leaf. Darken this area up as well. And yeah, really this whole thing is going to be faded into the background. I don't really want the stalk and leaf to stand out much at all. I just want it to be a rough idea of a stalk and leaf. Right, so even this is too much really, so I want to fade it more into the background. So I'm going to mix up some black. This needs to be hit as if it's a heavy shadow as well. So let's mix up some black and fade some of this out. Right, now that's okay, but I think it's now a little bit too dark. I need some highlights just to bring it out. So I've got some white in the brush and I'm just going to add some subtle highlights to the stem and to the leaf. Now that actually went a little bit too far and I lost some of the definition of the leaf, so I've got some more brown in the brush. I'm just going to bring that back in again a little bit, I think. So there we go, I'm quite pleased with that now, but I do want to go on to add some flames on it to make the rose look like it's burning. Now, Nikki said that would spoil it, but this is a bit of an exercise, so I am going to give it a go and see if I can make it look reasonably realistic. So I need to start with putting in some flames sort of freehand. I'm just going to do small ones. Don't think we need to go overboard with flames, but just put some in freehand coming out of the sort of middle of the rose. And to do that, of course, we start with just the white base, and I've got a shield where I can do a little bit of sharpening up just to get that flame effect. Well, I'm actually quite optimistic that those flames will come out okay. I'm going to hit it with some candy orange now. I've got some Candy 2.0 Grabber Orange, and yeah, let's add a little bit of colour to this. Right, well that seems like it might be a good start. I think I could do with a little bit of extra flame round to the right hand side. So I'm just going to add a little bit of extra white in there. And yeah, I think that's starting to look good. And now I'm going to add more white as a base for the yellow part of the flame. So yeah, I'm going to stay sort of within the orangey bits as much as I can. Just make them slightly smaller than the orangey bits. Right, now I'm going to hit those hot spots in the flame with some candy Ttxela yellow. I'm fairly pleased with that. I think that's about done now, but I'm going to give it a coat of 40-30 balancing clear, because the candy always needs some clear on the top of it to get it to pop, and obviously also we want to protect the painting a little bit. Well, there we go. There is the finished painting. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know if you think I ruined it with the flames, or if you think that was a good addition. But I'm pretty pleased with it, and it was a pretty good exercise to get me back into the old airbrushing. I've got a few projects to do for other people, but I felt like I should get me hand in a bit again first. So yeah, we'll see you again very soon, hopefully, in another airbrushing video.